Hey there. So, I'm about to share with you my most important tip for truth seekers like yourself. And before I get to that, I'm going to just share a few experiences I've had that illustrate why this tip is so important. Back in the day, I dated some men who said comments to me along these lines. You really need to shed some pounds. And I was probably 5 or 10 pounds heavier than I am right now, so not much. They said, I would have a kid with you, but I wouldn't want them to have your ears. And yeah, I don't know. I think my ears are fine, but again, not fun to hear. Finally, things like, it's a good thing you're pretty, just inferring that I wasn't smart. So, hearing these things back then, it was extremely painful and hard to hear, as it would be for a lot of people. But there was one ingredient that I was missing at that time, and that's the tip I have for you today. And that tip is practicing unconditional self love. Now, what I found is that everything is a mirror of our own consciousness. Every part of this reality, our own realities that we are co creating, have to do with our consciousness and how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about everything, our attitude about everything, really. But it really does come down to how you feel about yourself, how you treat yourself. How you treat yourself teaches other people how to treat you. How you feel about yourself, you radiate that feeling out, and people can pick up on that. If you have insecurities, those insecurities are being broadcast. We tend to think that we can hide our thoughts and our fears and our insecurities and our hopes and our dreams. I mean, anything. We think we can hide it, but really we're broadcasting this frequency out all the time. And so, what I had to come to into my, what I had to come to in my own life was just really coming to this place of true unconditional self love. And when I talk about unconditional love, self love, I'm saying really, truly unconditional. Not just loving yourself when things are going great or things are going the way that you want them to go, but really loving yourself even through those challenging times, those times when the reflections are more harsh. I've actually come to this realization that those reflections have actually pushed me to stand up for myself, to love myself. You know, I was bullied in middle school, and then, these other stories I told you about, they reflected how I was actually feeling inside. And had they not been manifested in front of me, like, this mirror, this projector, I would not have known that those thoughts were going on inside of me. I was unconscious of that. But because they became these manifestations and showed me, it kind of forced me in a way to say, hey, I love myself and I think highly of myself. So, these reflections are blessings in disguise, if you will, if you can choose to see it that way. Some people are afraid that if they practice self love, they will be like a narcissist. And a narcissist is actually someone, as far as the textbook definition goes, it would be someone who really doesn't love themselves, and they don't even like themselves. They're extremely insecure inside, but they put on a show on the outside, generally speaking. And they try to draw energy and attention from other people because they don't know how to source that love and attention for themselves. And so they're always wanting that, attention to keep them going. So to love yourself, that's sourcing energy from within. That's choosing to, be kind and loving and gentle to yourself, and knowing that you can give that to yourself, and you don't need to get that from the outside. You can give that to yourself, and when you do, the reflections of your reality will shift. So, how do we practice this unconditional self-love? Well, a good practice that I love giving clients is mirror work. Mirror work is just basically going to a mirror, and preferably when you're by yourself, just because it can be a vulnerable thing to do. And you just look in the mirror, and you look into your own eyes, and you tell yourself, "I love you," and you think of any and all positive messages that you can give yourself to build yourself up from an authentic place. And this practice really can do wonders when you practice it. Now, I have had clients say, look, I can't get myself to do it. And that that just shows you where they're at, and how much that they do need to practice more self-love. So that's a great practice. I also love, telling people, you can rub nice scented and organic lotions on your body. Just do it nice and easy and caress yourself with this intention of giving yourself loving, caring energy. I remember when this practice came into my life, I was probably mid 20s, and I was like, why? And that's weird. But over the years, I'm starting to understand each of these practices, they build up into how we treat ourselves. So if you feel almost like uncomfortable by these at first, just give it a try and see if you can work some of them in, the ones that call to you, of course. Self-care in general is self-love. And so anything with, to do with self-care. So book yourself a massage, drink green drinks and healthy, vibrant, organic foods that fill your body with this light energy. Switch the self-defeating thoughts when they come up to thoughts that are loving. You just switch them on the dime. Start paying attention, gain the awareness, and anytime those thoughts come up that are, self-defeating, like I said, or just mean or hateful even, just observe, notice. Don't beat yourself up more for having them. Just notice and observe. And, I say cancel, cancel, delete. Didn't mean that. What I did mean is this. And I replace it with what I actually am affirming, because each one of those corrections are correcting the trajectory of how you feel about yourself and your life path. So it all matters. Every single thought matters. Um, so, and then just generally being kind, being gentle with yourself. I know that a lot of people in the world today are harsh with themselves. I mean, a lot of people will wake up, they'll get out of bed, they'll drink their coffee, they'll get on the road, get in traffic and just try to get there and make it. And if you're late, like it can be very harsh. Now you can you can have that routine, but have a different energy about you. Give yourself more time in the morning to awaken, and maybe not chugging caffeine first thing. I mean, if you do, that's for you. But what I'm trying to say is, just finding more gentle ways of treating yourself and being with yourself, and also letting yourself off the hook. I know that for me, I have set the bar so high in my life and in many chapters of my life. And I would be so hard on myself if I didn't meet those standards. So I have learned to really let myself off the hook. I not be so dang hard on myself. Um, and that's where the unconditional love comes in, is that, if we don't meet these goals and these high standards we set for ourselves, it's okay. Life goes on. And I have come to this beautiful place within myself, and learning and practicing more and more to really just be okay with how things are going in my life, and know that I have these ultimate visions, and that I'm aspiring to and taking steps toward, but just being in the present moment and flowing with things a little more rather than trying so freaking hard to make things happen in the timeline that I want them, in the way that my ego or identity or human wants them to go. If you are in the process of calling in your soulmate or romantic partner at this time, my biggest tip for you as well is, guess what? Unconditional self love. Um, we often, our society, think that that other person will complete us, or that, when that person comes along, finally, I can get the love that I've been seeking. But we will never get what we are not already giving ourselves. We have to give that love to ourselves first. And as you do this, and you become whole within yourself, you will then manifest this reflection in front of you of someone who will also unconditionally love you back. And that's when these partners can come in, these partners that are these whole reflections. And so that's actually how I called in my partner, was practicing unconditional self-love inside myself first. I would, take myself on dates. I would buy myself flowers. I would romance myself. As weird as that sounds, I decided, well, let me get in the energy of it. Let me be that for me first. And I really truly came to a place where I was like, I'm happy. I'm joyful. My life is good, and I wouldn't necessarily need a partner in this life because I really feel whole within myself. I'm happy with myself, and I trust that I can always give myself what I need. And then, what do you know, not too long after I really felt that way, my partner came in, and he's incredible. He is my soulmate. He is such a beautiful reflection of someone who loves me totally unconditionally. I really couldn't have asked for more. And I'm so happy that I can see that it worked. This stuff really does work. So don't wait for your soulmate and for someone else to come along and give you what you're seeking. Rather than seeking, just start by giving it to yourself now, giving it to yourself now. And slowly but surely, you will see this reflection of your life shift right before your eyes. A great question that I like to ask myself often is, what would someone who loves themselves unconditionally do? So, would you take that job that pays squat, has you working long, hard hours that you're not even passionate about? Probably not. Would you stay in that relationship with someone who verbally or physically abuses you and treats you like dirt? Probably not. Would you lock yourself in your room after you gave a speech and tripped on the stage for days, let's say? No, because someone who loves themselves unconditionally can forgive what happened and move on and love themselves through anything. They can say no to those toxic relationships or life ambitions that, or I guess life careers that don't serve them or who they are authentically. And so this question has served me in many ways, and I definitely recommend using it in your own life as well. My intention for today is that this video brought you some kind of insight or inspiration to incorporate this very important practice into your own life. I'm wishing you a beautiful everything, and I will see you next time.